there's so much information about food, it won't help you. Training's about confidence. Here's an example. We could eat the same thing for a day. We could eat the same thing for a week.
Okay.
It wouldn't do in my body what it's doing in your body.
Okay.
Because it hasn't been set up. Now with that in mind, you have to draw confidence in the fact that once you are set up, it won't do what it's doing right now.
Okay.
So it's not something that you have to turn into a completely personality change to achieve your training goals.
Yeah.
Your primary aim is to learn the workouts and train. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Then your next thing is quite simply, I've trained hard, now I'm just going to basically keep a track of when I am binging, and I'm just going to kind of give myself more and more good options for my binging. I went to the shop and I bought a load of rice cakes and hummus and chopped carrots and I went mad. See? Or I went and bought a whole bigger thing of natural Greek yogurt and nuts and honey and just went crazy gouging myself. I went and bought cereal. What's wrong with cereal? You know, I eat cereal all the time. It's like obviously detail will knock your confidence. Yeah. You'll be eating and you'll feel like you're back to square one. Yeah. Confidence is much more important than detail. Yeah. If you're worried about detail, you'll affect your confidence. Yeah. If you're confident, you'll eradicate the detail because you'll be like, well, actually, wait a minute, I'm training. I go to the shop and eat food. I used to drink. I used to smoke. Yes. I'm eating food. Yeah. That is not doing what you think it's doing. You know, it's about level one is about building confidence. When you learn to train and you train hard, then you create a furnace in your stomach.
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course, yeah.
That's our focus.
Okay.
We create the furnace and then we worry about the detail. Okay. The primary thing to cut out day one, week one is bread.
Okay.
Bread. Yeah? And obviously crisps. 100%. Okay. Training's about replacing habits. If if you start training hard, then you'll find that actually food, your receptors start changing, and things that you used to be able to eat, you find a little bit sickly. Yeah. Right? It's about changing things slowly. So the first premise is I'm going to train, right? And I'm going to try and nail these exercises. That's the first target. The second target is to try and start building confidence. You don't want to get confident from beating yourself up about doing everything, right? Yeah. You've got to start looking at things one piece at a time. Yeah. Your food is a huge kind of a monologue of negativity.
Of course. Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. It's really not as bad as you think. Yeah. You've just got to take things one step at a time, and try the primary target of not eating bread. Basically, starches. When you get someone to stop eating bread, and I'll tell you, obviously I've had a great track record with body transformation, right?
Yeah, of course.
I've got it not from getting a bachelor's degree in nutrition, right? If I thought I needed to, I would, but it's really not in nutrition. Yeah. The secret is obviously building an athlete, a driver, an F1 driver. Okay. Yeah. Someone who can. An athlete is confident. Now, what you have to take with your food is to think: is the problem that I don't have willpower, or is the problem that I don't have the reason to have willpower? So, for example, all right, Jonathan, we got a massive wrestling match or cage fight coming up. Right? You need to be this weight to get involved and you're going to get paid $5,000. Now obviously, alright, I'm going to get $5,000, I need to lose weight, now I'm interested in not eating bread. As opposed to, I get told to do this, but I'm not mentally strong enough and so I'm not going to do it. Yeah, you've got no context for not doing certain things. Yeah. So you need to start creating context by thinking of the athletic training program and the challenge. For instance, mentally strong people, unless challenged, don't realise they're mentally strong.
Yeah, it's a conundrum, isn't it? It's a paradox.
And what you want to do is, so the one piece at a time is challenge 1, no bread. Alright?
Is that 1 day a week? Or?
Permanently, no bread. Yeah,
Okay.
that's challenge 1.
Alright.
And again, this is a system that over 8 years has proved those that stop bread, yeah, lose fat. Because it's the people who can stop eating bread can stop eating anything.
Okay.
People who can't stop eating bread, there's no point wasting too much energy.
Is that because...
People
Okay.
who can stop eating bread, when you take bread out of your diet, your stomach shrinks, and then you have to go sideways on food options. I was going to have a sandwich, but I don't eat bread. I was going to have some soup, but I don't eat bread. I was going to do this, but I don't eat bread. What do I eat instead of bread? Oh, I've kind of stopped eating bread. People who don't really lose fat. I've completely stopped eating bread. I hate it now. Losing body fat. It's just science. That's what happens.
That one... How about cake? For the first... Because cake is a nemesis.
It's not bread, is it?
Thank you.
Do you bake? Here's another thing. Do you bake?
No, I had to stop baking.
Why?
Because... I tell you why, is because I ended up starting baking all sorts of breads.
No, but
Well, cakes...
cake you can bake. Do you understand that? Look,
well, there's 4 ingredients, isn't there?
if you took everything, detail, be careful, don't veer into detail land, right? Because if you get hung up on detail, we could literally be here for, and I wouldn't mind, you could have an hour to 4 hour conversation about do's and don'ts. Wouldn't get us any closer.
Okay.
If someone's telling me don't eat bread, they're telling me don't eat bread.
Yeah,
They're not telling me don't eat cake.
No,
Because
don't worry, I've heard that one.
Now what?
Yeah.
I started myself baking because I have a very sweet tooth, and I spend a pound. I spend at least £1 every day on stuff because I work downstairs from Asda. I'd like buy biscuits, so I learned how to bake.
Yeah.
I don't do it regularly, I admit,
Okay.
but a baked cake with cocoa, butter, unrefined sugar, some nuts, some seeds. Oh wait a minute, I've got walnuts in that. Now I have a whole serving of walnuts, some pure cocoa, some butter which is nutrient dense. It's baked. It's stopped me from eating loads of other crap. It's a win-win, isn't it? What's wrong with that? Nothing. But will that on its own adjust my body composition? That's not important. What's important is it's a war. In a war, you're looking for small victories.
Wars.
You're looking for small victories.
Yeah.
Right? So victory 1 is, he told me don't eat bread, I don't eat bread. I made a cake. I've won a small battle. It's building the confidence. See, for instance, a lot of people as well would imagine that I'm here to tell you, to put my arm around you, to give you motivation, right? It's the opposite. A coach-athlete relationship is almost a conflict. It has to be. I've been coached most of my life, so I understand that I like my coach, but I'm out to beat that person.
Okay.
That person doesn't expect me to do it.
Yeah.
That person doesn't expect me to show up,
Yeah.
doesn't expect me to achieve what he knows I can achieve.
Yeah.
I have to prove to him that I can. It's competitive. The missing ingredient in this environment is the competitive sport-like element. An athlete is competitive. At the moment, you're not competitive because you've already been defeated by yourself.
Oh yeah.
But you can adjust how you look at it by simply taking things. For instance, choose winnable battles. Oh, yeah. Well, I want to buy some cake. But he said no bread, so I'm not eating bread. Jeff, I didn't eat bread. All right, but you didn't say that. You said not eating bread. Perfect. Now you're in the battle. Now you're in the conflict. Coach athlete is a conflict. You're trying to prove a coach wrong. Well, I did your workouts. I did this. You talked about bread. I did this, did that. That's just the nature of coaching.
Yeah.
Because then what happens is you start to build the tools that an athlete does, where it's like, I want to prove you wrong, I'm going to prove everyone wrong, and I'm going to do it on my own terms. And it's not some kind of cheesy motivational thing. It's literally just piece by piece to say, all right, day 1, got in the gym, didn't eat bread. Right?
Yeah.
And drank a lot more water, which is the other point.
Yeah.
Loads of water.